Okay, so it's time for a little more math fun. Now we're going to look at the calculator, and we're going to make sure we have it in the right mode. So with your calculator in front of you, and you'll need it every single day of this unit, be sure you're on your home screen. Up here I've written the directions. Home screen, touch the number 5, touch the number 2 so you can look at document settings. In the second box from the top, there's different modes. If I cursor down and push in, you'll see it could be radian, degree, or gradient. We need to be in degree mode. Depress it and make sure it reads degree in the box. Then use your arrow down on your calculator to get all the way to the word make default. If you don't do this, it'll only use degree mode once, not all day. Make it default and then hit OK. You've now completed the steps at the top. Your calculator is ready to work in Trig. So I just went to my scratch pad. Here's what we're going to do. Is your calculator in degree mode? Yes. We're going to locate and label the hypotenuse, the largest side of the triangle, which is directly across the right angle. So if I had a right angle here, I go straight across and put my H. Next it says locate the noted angle. Look for the theta symbol. So we'll say they had a theta right here and they had a 7 here and a 32 here. They gave us some information. This means this is the angle of interest for our problem. It could have been this angle, but it can only be one of the two acute angles. Theta is never the right angle. After you locate the noted angle and put the theta symbol there, I always put a little smiley face in theta to say that's where I'm standing, looking at all three sides. Since I've already located the hypotenuse, I only have to label these two. Label the side which touches the angle with an A. It's adjacent. Okay, so here's our theta, and this green side touches the angle created right here. So here's our adjacent side. To find our side that is across the triangle that needs to be labeled opposite, we can take an arrow all the way from the theta angle across and label this side O for opposite. H, A, and O. They talk about in the song Getting Triggy with It. To set up an equation in the order as noted below, putting an X in for one missing value, we're going to use this process every day to work a trig problem. The only difference between Algebra 1, Geometry, we've said all year, is last year they gave you the equation to solve. This year we have you write your own equation. So step 1, write an equal sign, it's there for us. Step 2, put in the degrees of the theta angle, and here we said it was 32 degrees. Step 3 is you're going to have to decide, is this a sine problem? Remember some old hippie? A cosine problem? Caught another hippie? Or a tangent problem? Tripping over apples. And you have to see what you have and what you need to solve for. So let's say in this one, they wanted us to find the length of the adjacent right here. They had our X right here. It means we have the length of our opposite and we need to find the length of our adjacent. We have to find an equation which uses those two. So only one of these that sets up with opposite and adjacent is tangent. So we're going to say the tangent of 32 degrees equals, tangent is always opposite over adjacent, tripping over apples. So we put 7 over, okay, that's how we'd be setting up a problem. But let's turn to the back. For this sheet, we really want to practice ones where X is on high. And here are some samples I put together that I know will be like that. We are going to use a 5-step process. So here's our theta, putting my smiley face. Across from my right angle was my hypotenuse. The side called adjacent is the side of the triangle that touches the theta. The side called opposite is the side you had to go from theta all the way across the triangle to get to. Now that we've labeled the triangle, we'll do our equation. Equal sign first, theta degrees next. Next we have to decide what kind of problem it is, because that'll tell us how to set it up. So they're asking us to solve for our opposite. They gave us our adjacent. If we're thinking through our sum, old hippie caught another hippie tripping over apples. When we have O and A, tangent is the ratio we have to choose. The neat thing about these videos is you can stop it and pause it to get it to slow down anytime you need to. If we're going to set up tangent, I have to put the length of my opposite, which is x, here on top. Now I have to put the length of my adjacent here. You've successfully set the equation, and now what you have to remember from the song is when x is on high, we multiply. And I've shown you a chart that shows you that tan 50 is a stored value. If I were here on my calculator, pushing my Trig button, I'm going to come over here to tan, and when I put in tan 50, it knows to go to its memory and pull out the value that I showed you on a chart. So since x is on high and we're going to multiply, this is what gets multiplied. We're going to do 20 times tan 50, which is a stored value, equal x. Be sure you bring the 20 here to the outside to do your multiplication. So here I'm going to go 20 times control trig. Oops, something went wrong. Let's back it up. 20 times. Oh, because it's not. Sorry about that. 20 times trig. There we go. You don't have to hit control, just trig. Tan 50, enter. And the answer was 23.8351. And typically we'll have you round it to either the 10th position, the 100th position, the 1000th, somewhere in there, but by now you should know your decimal positions. Let's try another one. I'll switch colors. Let's label. This is the angle we have. That's our theta. Put in your smiley face. Find your hypotenuse first. The side of the triangle which touches theta is your adjacent. The side of the triangle that's all the way across from the theta, does not touch it, is your opposite. You've labeled your three sides, H, A, and O. For this problem, when I put down my equal sign, put in my degrees next to the left, I have the length of the hypotenuse, and I need the length of the opposite. Come back up here and look at our setups. And the only one out of sine, cosine, and tangent that uses O and H is sine. And sine is always opposite over hypotenuse. So over here, my x goes up in the numerator. My 12 is there. And every time x is on high, we're going to multiply times this value stored originally on a chart when I was in school, now on your calculator. So you'll do 12 times sine 30 to get your x. And we're going to 12 times, I'm just hitting the trig button, that's a mistake I made a minute ago, there's my sine, 30, enter, and the answer was 6. 6 equals x. We have one more example we can set up. Let's switch colors. I'm going to go through the same process. Find my right angle, label my hypotenuse. Here's my theta. The side that touches theta is adjacent. The side that's completely across the triangle is opposite. for this particular problem, they want me to solve for my adjacent side, and all I have is my hypotenuse. So I'm going to have to use those to set up my equation. I'll write my equal sign first, and I'll get ready to do my 5 steps. Step 1 is put in your theta angle. Here it's 70 degrees, it goes to the left. Step 2 is decide if it's sine, cosine, or tangent for this problem. Since it's A and H, I look at my choices. Cosine is a function that deals with the adjacent and hypotenuse lengths. Trying to solve for my adjacent, that's my x, and my hypotenuse is 14. So just like in the other two problems, when x is on high, we take this 14 and we multiply it times that stored value. So we'll do 14 times cosine 70 to get x, 14 times cosine 70, and there it is, 4.78828. 4.78828 equals x.